Fatal car crash outside Beijing's Forbidden City. Traffic chaos in Mongkok because of dangling signboard. And parts of Britain being pounded by one of the worst storms in years.
Hello and a very good evening. We start tonight in Beijing, where a jeep crashed into a crowd just outside the Forbidden City earlier today. 3 people in the vehicle died and 11 people in the crowd, including tourists, were injured. A police investigation into the incident is underway. Jenny Lam reports.
The jeep burst into flames just outside Tiananmen Gate. Police quickly cordoned off the area, including the exits of a nearby subway station. All trains were told not to stop there. Security officers surrounded the burning car with boards while fire trucks were on standby. According to the official Xinhua news agency, the jeep turned onto Chang'an Avenue from a side road just around midday. It was going in an east-west direction when it crashed into the crowd, knocking down a number of people, including tourists and police officers. The car then rammed into a bridge just outside the main gates of the Forbidden City and burst into flames. Police put out the fire and pulled out the driver and 2 passengers from the wreckage. All 3 later died at hospital. Emergency services in Beijing said the vehicle knocked down 11 people and they were sent to nearby hospitals. The area around Tiananmen Gate was reopened to the public 4 hours afterwards. This is a security-sensitive location and one of the busiest tourist destinations in Beijing. There have been attempts in the past by people who wanted to jump off the bridge or try to hand out leaflets. The area is usually patrolled by a large number of plainclothes police officers. Jenny Lam, TVB News.
There was traffic chaos in parts of Kowloon today after a signboard was in danger of falling onto Nathan Road. As Jenny Lam reports, police were forced to close a portion of the road, causing major congestion and inconvenience to those in the area.
The signboard that hung precariously off a commercial building on Nathan Road belongs to a karaoke bar. It was tipping to one side and part of it was already under scaffolding because workers were preparing to remove it. Just after 2 p.m, police received a report about the dangerous signboard and proceeded to close off the entire northbound lane on Nathan Road. Fire trucks were on standby while firefighters and buildings department inspectors checked out the structure. The contractor in charge of removing the signboard soon arrived. They said they were in the middle of taking it down. An initial investigation suggests that one of the 4 cables holding up the signboard had snapped. The contractor said they had only started putting up the scaffolding when the cable broke. The signboard, he said, has been there for 18 years. It is believed the karaoke bar received a removal order, but it's not clear what was the deadline for removal. People who work and walk in the area every day fear the structure might collapse. Blocking off traffic meant bus passengers had to take the MTR instead, and some of the shops along the northbound lane closed for the afternoon. The road closure caused traffic diversions and resulted in heavy congestion in Yau Ma Tei, Tsim Sha Tsui and Mongkok. Traffic tailed back from Nathan Road all the way to Gascoigne Road. This evening, inspectors will try to work out how to remove the signboard safely. Jenny Lam, TVB News.
Turning overseas now, Britain is being pounded by one of the worst storms to hit the region in many years. Hurricane-force winds have knocked out power to tens of thousands of homes, while commuters are struggling with travel chaos. James Aiken with the latest.
With wind gusts close to 100 miles per hour in southwestern Britain, forecasters expect this to be the worst storm of the year so far. Fallen trees, flooding and downed power lines are forcing rail service cancellations across much of the UK, while about 130 flights have been cancelled at Heathrow Airport. Ports have also been shut down, halting ferry services, and many schools and businesses have been closed. In southern England, a search and rescue operation has become a search and recovery operation after the Coast Guard spent several hours looking for a 14-year-old boy. He was swept out to sea while playing on a beach.
They are horrendous conditions, been described as sort of unprecedented as far as that's concerned. We're obviously concerned about the conditions coming through later tonight as well. So yes, we've had some quite horrendous conditions to search today.
Forecasters say that while the late autumn storm is not unusual for the UK, they haven't seen anything like this in years.
We've got two systems that join together in the Atlantic. We've got a particularly strong jet stream at the moment, and it's still developing as it hits our shores. Most of the time these storms start to dissipate before they get to the UK. This one's still very active by the time it hits us.
The storm is expected to move out over the North Sea by the end of the day. Meanwhile, government agencies have been ordered to ensure contingency plans are in place while the storm continues to batter the region. James Aiken, TVB News.
Staying in Europe now, and new reports out today allege that American spying activity extended to Spain, with millions of phone calls, texts and emails monitored over a month. It comes as German officials visit Washington this week to clear up allegations Chancellor Angela Merkel's phone was hacked and monitored. It's the latest in a string of damaging revelations which have exposed US spying activity on its European allies. Spanish media reported today the US National Security Agency secretly monitored millions of calls and messages over a month. It's alleged the NSA tracked phone calls, texts and emails from Spanish citizens between December 2012 and January this year. The US ambassador to Spain was summoned to explain the allegations. Last week, more leaks from former NSA contractor Edward Snowden exposed American eavesdropping operations on France and Germany, including the stunning allegation that Chancellor Angela Merkel's cell phone was routinely hacked and listened into for years. Indeed, German media reported yesterday US President Barack Obama was probably aware this was going on as early as 2010, but didn't stop it. Now Germany's Interior Minister is pressing for complete information from Washington on the alleged US surveillance of Merkel's phone and any other snooping activity. Merkel has already lodged a strong complaint with Obama and is now joining the growing calls for a spying consensus. German security officials will travel to Washington for talks to seek clarifications on the widespread US spying allegations. They'll hold talks with White House officials as well as members of the NSA. It's not just the Germans. The European Union is also sending a delegation as both sides scramble to defuse a crisis that has seriously damaged long-standing ties between Europe and the United States.
3 mainland activists who urge citizens to embrace their constitutional rights have gone on trial in Jiangxi province. Their trial opened earlier today under heavy scrutiny. A number of Western diplomats were blocked from attending the hearing. The 3 are associated with the New Citizens Movement. They were arrested in April for inciting subversion of state power, but the charge was later changed to illegal assembly. It's a closely watched case that underscores the Communist Party's intolerance of any organized political challenge. Indian police say a man has confessed to his involvement in yesterday's bombing attacks in the northeastern state of Bihar. The explosions left 6 people dead and 83 others injured. He appeared in court earlier today. The bombs went off near a rally held by opposition leader Narendra Modi. Authorities believe the attacks were ordered by an outlawed Islamic militant group. Now, according to one police official, one of 5 men being questioned said the bomb blast had been ordered by the Indian Mujahideen. The group has been linked to the banned Pakistan-based rebel group Lashkar-e-Taiba. Still, no one has officially claimed responsibility so far.
The president of Argentina has emerged from congressional elections with a smaller congressional majority and very little chance of running for a 3rd term. Voters in the midterm elections chose half of the lower house of Congress and 1/3 of the Senate. Opposition candidates won more than enough votes to block any proposed constitutional changes that would allow Cristina Fernandez to seek a 3rd term in 2015. And the president's former cabinet chief, Sergio Massa, won his seat handily, cementing his role as a new political threat. The 60-year-old president recently underwent brain surgery and was unable to campaign. Her popularity has also been hurt by high inflation and lagging economic confidence. Over to the former Soviet Republic of Georgia now, where residents woke up to a new president-elect today. Backed by Georgia's billionaire prime minister, the candidate easily won Sunday's election. Georgia's election commission officially announced that 44-year-old Georgi Margvelashvili won the presidency with 62.9% of the vote. The new president will be head of state and commander-in-chief of the armed forces. But in a move aimed at making Georgia a parliamentary democracy, the president's executive powers will now be shifted over to the government and parliament. The new president's foreign policy goal is to pursue close ties with the West and with Russia, a balance the country has long failed to achieve. His inauguration is slated for November 17th.
And still ahead in our newscast, banks to cancel charges on inactive accounts. An attempt to reopen legal battle over Henry Fox's estate. And rocker Lou Reed dies.